Hi there, here's an update for agoracentric.org. I've been putting new information on the site about organic farming, about the financial system, and I'll be updating the barter share system to be integrated with the Agoracentric site. So you can start your own little bartering economy pretty soon. The issue is, the problem I have is to make sure that you can be identified in some way, that it's a little bit safe. Ultimately, a bartering system, online bartering system called Barter Shares that I developed would be excellent because you don't need money. So if you want to be agoracentric within the real economy and you want to basically exchange services within your own community, you can do that without anybody knowing about it, without any money being exchanged hands, because you can create your own barter shares. But I think by that time I want to have it on a secure server or something like that, or you can simply purchase it from me and run it locally and then get updates. Yeah, I wanted to make a remark about a news item I read yesterday. There's these solar power plants going to be built in California, and apparently there are these unions, and I know that because I was in Los Angeles and I talked with other people about the unions and the chapters of the longshoremen of Long Beach, and they are basically criminals, and it's all criminal gangs, it's mafia that basically assassinated the previous manager at the company that I was at, because he didn't want to agree to their demands. And what they basically do is they simply take the logistic chain, which is now pretty much dead, but anyway at that time it was very prosperous, and they just obstruct it. They know that it's a system that needs to work and it's necessary and it makes a hell of a lot of money, so if they just throw a wrench in it, they can make money and they can basically demand a higher salary. And these people were making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just by driving a truck around, because if they stopped doing that, nothing happened and nobody else can get that job because it's a mafia organization, it's mob. Well, the same type of mob mentality has captured the alternative energy industry in California. So what they basically wanted, which is not unreasonable, is they formed a union, I believe it's called the Energy Workers Union or something like that, and then they demand to be employed by these projects. And if they're not employed, then they're gonna basically obstruct it. And that's throwing out the baby with the bathwater, because now there's still money. Now the US can still do something. It has the oil to build renewable facilities and all the stuff, and it has all the things that it now gets from outside the US. It can still get. If it collapses, I really don't. It's going to be a very bad time for everybody. So I hope US rises up, but it's very clear that it won't, because it's now governed by the pirates, by JP Morgan. And you see, right now you can still build that renewable energy source, which you need for all kinds of other purposes. After the collapse, forget about it. You will be struggling. So it's very bad, I think, that the unions that will also, of course, these are not the high wage earners. They are usually the low wage earners, except, of course, in the example that I used for the logistic chain. So it's very good to have unions. But they have to realize that their wealth and prosperity depends on the energy that's generated locally. That they don't have to go get from Saudi Arabia or Iran or any other place that they have to fight over with other countries. Anyway, I wanted to make a remark about the O'Reilly Factor program, I believe it's called, and he had an atheist there. And he was just demonstrating how immensely dumb religious people are. But on the other hand, we have a whole new religion, which is the Church of Oprah, which is her new cable network, where she basically behaves like a high priestess. And she's the high priestess of commerce. She's the high priestess of useless waste, of let's say, emotional empowerment of women, which is fantastic. I completely applaud empowerment of women. That's why I have all these websites for climate babes and stuff like that. But it should not mean that they are caught up in the whole consumptive frenzy. It should mean that in an agoracentric sense, they realize that they can perfectly add and help and simply be, there's really no unique position for women, I think. They're just there and like men, and It's your if you want to basically abuse each other, like in some Muslim countries, and actually in some Christian communities, or in any other, like say in Africa, you have all these voodoo or these animalistic priests, and they also keep like 16 young girls in a hut for ages, and all these abuses. If you want to do that, well, not in my vicinity, but if you really have to, it's your own. You're gonna suffer. You're gonna have less prosperity in the end. So it's your own decision. But Oprah is not helping, I think, because she's just very commercial. She pretends to be Google, in a way, Google of women empowerment, but it's just not possible. You cannot be good and promote consumerism. It's just not possible. Consumerism is waste. You have to start focusing on the quality. So here's my agoracentric tip, starting program. Step number 1 is start ignoring marketing in general, and especially marketing in the biggest, let's say, media channels, because one of the big things that needs to happen in order for people to regain sanity is that the big media channels are basically no longer exist. Agoracentrism will not be having the central agoracentric TV station. It won't have it. It can't have it. It's too distracting. It's too if a mistake is made on the highest level, then everybody makes a mistake. That's not the way you want to do it. You want to have variability, you want to have resilience locally, different opinions, and then you want to have discussions. Maybe not about technologies that are clearly defined and are, like, say, made up or thought over 100 times. No, not about those things. And then again, as an agoracentric community, you don't have to talk to your neighbors. You don't have to. But there should not be a reason either to do that or not to do that. You should have a spirit of cooperation. I guess the best example I can find is the paleo races in Siena and Italy, where you have races on a day where they are very competitive. But of course, the rest of the year there's simply a city with different quarters where everybody works together and everybody knows each other. There's no reason to compete as long as it's for. There's no harm in competing as long as it's for quality, and not like the banks want. As long as it's companies are basically competing to kill each other and to kill themselves. So I think a very important step is, if you see advertisement on a big channel, ignore that and make a point of especially not trying to buy that stuff. So you have all kinds of sports gear, you have all kinds of products. Try to look for quality, and only look for quality, and try to look for local quality. And the best thing is only look for local quality. That's pretty hard. If I want to have some running shoes, and I see Asics and Nikes, and I see New Balance and whatever you have, I'm not sure if that brand even exists anymore. But where's my Dutch running shoe? Which one is Dutch? I can't find any. That's actually quite scary, because it's not scary at all. But you don't really need that stuff. But it's all trash coming from far, far away. It's usually plastic, and it has all kinds of drawbacks. So maybe there's an American running shoe company that's already better than one in Asia. Maybe there's, if you're in Texas or if you're in Pennsylvania, where they're about to pollute your waters, buy something out of Pennsylvania. It's so blaringly obvious that the World Trade Organization doesn't want protectionist barriers, because they're profiting from them. They're profiting from looting other countries and flooding their markets with cheap products made by factories that they already have, these companies that determine the policy of the World Trade Organization. And these new territories there that they enter, let's say India or something, and they come in with L'Oreal and brands, beauty brands, with the whole branding experience, and they know exactly how to trigger each marketing segment. So the Indian concoctions and different cosmetic products don't have a chance. and they simply will be owned, and the factories will be in France or in England or in Germany or somewhere else, and they'll be exporting the stuff and getting all the stuff out of India. You see, that's so. Try to break that down, and you can. There's nobody that can tell you to buy something from Japan. They can only, let's say, market towards you. So basically, and it might be that the quality is better from far away, and that should be a signal to local producers. So go for quality, don't go for marketing, and try to especially ignore and hurt the revenues of the companies that are the biggest advertisers. Simply because that also hurts the media channels that are so commercially addicted to the money for no reason whatsoever. So thanks for listening.